Hey, how's everybody going? How's everybody doing or going? Either way is fine. This is Wayne with CPC Media, aka Egypt or Chronic, and you guys.
Brooklyn Tengu, also known as SideQuest K.
Hi, this is Kita Cat.
Ace Virtue.
And today we are doing topic of history of Street Fighter. I'll start us off pretty much, well, of course, but I'll start us off with the question of exactly how do you guys feel about Street Fighter, to be completely honest?
Thighs, Chun-Li thighs.
Yes. Waifu all day. Oh, but in seriousness, it's an amazing historical thing that came out of the gaming industry, to be honest. I think we've all, at least at one point or time, have grown up with some aspect of Street Fighter in our lives, and I think we owe a lot to it in as far as the geek and gaming culture.
It spawned a lot of different games. I think everybody knows the staple characters from anything. I mean, even if you don't play the game, I'm sure you know who Chun-Li is, who Ken is, who Ryu is.
Vega,
Blanca,
Zangief, yep.
Ehanga, Dazum, you know.
Bison.
And then, yeah, so everybody knows, even if you're not a fighter game player, I mean, you know them, you know their faces, you know where they came from.
Very easily identifiable designs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. You can recognize them like right out of anything. So I'll go with pretty much, instead of the way how exactly I feel about Street Fighter, because I'll be talking all day, I'll just get to pretty much probably what I should have started and said, actually. Because they have a great history, and I feel as if I should have started and said that, because they started Street Fighter 1 came out 1987, I believe.
Oh wow.
I didn't play that one too much, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But you know, it just goes pretty far back. A lot of games have also piggybacked from, you know, Street Fighter. They've had some guest characters and things, and brought in guest characters in games along the way. So like that's, I don't know. Like I said, if I was gonna answer that with just a straight out answer, I would be talking all day. But I think they had a pretty great run, still going. I'm not saying it as if like they're ending out or anything like that. But so yeah, and yes, I play as Ryu. So yeah. That's pretty much that. So she mentioned Chun-Li, and Marquita mentioned Chun-Li, and then Ace, you mentioned off rip how, you know, you can recognize anyone even if you do or don't play the game. You know, you'll always be able to recognize someone from the game. So with that being said, do you guys feel as if like they've had a big impact on players, player or not?
The characters or the game?
I would say the game, because the characters come from the game, you know. That's a good question. You're right. I should have specified, but
I think the impact is that it spawned a lot of other fighter games. You could definitely see a lot of influence in later games that deal with the same concepts, like King of Fighters. I can't even name games. There's so many popping up in my head, but I'm
Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
Tekken,
I don't want to name some, and then somebody's like, oh my god.
No, it doesn't even matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's 3D or not. You know, so
Right.
every fighting game came from Street Fighter.
I'm just seeing a lot. I'm seeing like Battle Arena to Shinden.
All
I'm
of that,
seeing
yeah.
like
No, you're right.
just
Call it
yeah.
out. You're right. At the end of the day, even Real Battle, Fatal Fury, all of those like OG 2D fight, even the beat 'em ups. You know what I'm saying? Final Fight came out of Street Fighter
Yeah, Final
and things
Fight.
like that. You know, so it completely renovate Mortal Kombat even like
Mortal Kombat for sure.
Yeah, it completely renovated the whole industry of gaming because, I mean, what before that we had Pong and Donkey Kong and shit like that.
Bomberman.
Food
Right.
fight.
So, yeah, we had those simple stage games. What was it that what was that one game where you played as the miner and you had to like run around and
with
dodge
the
the
pickaxe?
ghosts? Yeah.
You talking about
Pac-Man and things like that.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking when you said minor, like a child.
no. Like,
even though like the first game started off with, because I'm piggybacking on what you just said, because even though the first game started off with like 3 characters, literally it was like 3. It was like 3. It was Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li or something like that. It was like 3 or 4.
It was just Ryu, and Ken was like a color palette swap of Ryu.
Right. I'm just saying, yeah. So piggybacking on what you said, even though it was that limited amount of characters, it was still innovative for its time period when it came out. So even though you're playing with 2 or 3 characters, you liked, well, this is the best thing I've ever played because
it had its flaws.
It's the only thing of its kind at that time.
Street Fighter 1 for sure had its flaws. Like, okay, I'm gonna throw in really quick. I'm not trying to skip you, Marquita. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just throw in really quick. Like how you just said, it's had its time. So of course, I was born in '93, so I wasn't playing Street Fighter 1.
Ouch.
Coming back to Street Fighter 1 and everything.
Look, I wasn't playing Street Fighter 1 either. I don't think we were any of
none
us
of us
playing
did,
Street Fighter. We was all like either not born or 2 years old, 3 years old.
Okay,
you know?
like
we wasn't.
Straight to, yeah.
Back to that game is like you had to. So like for example, like it was only 2 buttons when the game initially came out. I forget what exact system it came out on. It was only 2 buttons available to play it on though. It pretty much had it to where you would have to hold down the button, and depending on how long you've held down the button, that would depend on whether it's a light, medium, or fierce. You guys get what I mean?
Was it ever console or was it always arcade for 1?
It was arcade, and then when it came to console, it was like on one of the Sega systems, I believe. I'm not fully sure. Like it was arcade, of course, and then
Did it start off on Atari?
Nah, Atari couldn't
No.
handle that.
I don't think it started off on Atari. I'm really not sure. I didn't have it. I mean, that is something to look up really quick.
We come back to that.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't look that up myself. The point of it all is that like that's like a really big change, or a really big, I wouldn't say flop, a really big change, because from Street Fighter 1, it went to holding down for 1 to 3 seconds for depending on the effect of the attack, to Street Fighter 2, which came out in 1988, I believe. 1988, the next Street Fighter came out, and it was much different, much better. That's where they pretty much got the rep from, to be completely honest. The Hadokens, Soryukens, and the I was gonna say Hurricane Kick. I mean, it's Hurricane Kick as well, but Tatsumaki, there's an end to that. You know what? Hurricane Kick is what we're gonna go with right now.
Thank you.
But that's where those moves were more exaggerated. They were there on Street Fighter 1, but it was just so random. Like the moveset was kind of random on Street Fighter 1 compared to Street Fighter 2. Like that's kind of where they really started, where the flame ignited at. And that's what I would say. Where everything got crazy. You could do more combos. They introduced more. I don't think they added the supers yet. I'm not gonna say that. So you can do more combos. It was much more balanced, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And from it becoming popular, Capcom earned more money. I'm sorry, I ain't.
No, keep going.
No, keep going. I got the information, but keep going.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hurry up then. You good? Yeah, like from Capcom earning more money, they just later came out with much more games, which I'm gonna actually get to in a second, because at one point Street Fighter came out with maybe the same game thrice, and it was
Turbo.
just okay.
Super
But,
Turbo.
go ahead.
And,
Super
so-
Turbo, Hyper, all of that. Like, yo,
ridiculous. Yeah, make you spend more money.
it just brings me to the question of pretty much that very long gap that they had, because Street Fighter 1 came out pretty much in 1987. And then they didn't come out with their next game or games up until, because there's a few of them, up until 1991. I'm trying to understand, like, were they trying to get it together, or was it, do you guys feel as if like they gave, I thought that was the cat behind me climbing on the tree. Oh my God, do you guys feel as if that was a good idea for them to hold back that many years, basically, is what I'm asking, because it was pretty popular when it came out, even though the game was good in its time, but it was the game, you know. So
you said 87 to 91. You said 87 to 91.
Yep, 87 to 91.
So it's what, 4 years?
It's not a bad streak though.
Well, it depends because well, no, it's not a bad streak because the first one was 80 what, 5?
Yeah. 87.
The first one was 87, so the second one was what?
91.
The second one was 91.
Was 91, okay. Yeah, but did they make that much changes in the second one?
Yeah, it was a completely different game.
Yes.
I think it actually had more of a story to the game by the time we got around to the second one.
And I think the first one was single player.
A story on one. It's not debatable. I'll say that. Yes, it for sure had there was a dramatic change. Characters had more, I don't know, like persona, you know, like characters had more sauce to themselves. Their moveset a little bit made more sense. Like I said, balance patch. The storyline made a little bit more sense as well, because there was a storyline and everything, and as well for, because see, every character in Street Fighter 1, they didn't make it, you know. A lot of them were revamped. Gin, he was in that game. He was in Street Fighter 1.
Right.
Sagat and Adon was in Street Fighter 1. But like, it's been a while since pretty much Birdie, I believe, as well, was in Street Fighter 1. But it's been a while since they brought a few of those characters back. So it's like, you know, just a quick side branch. But I mean, like, it's not as if everything from one was like, it's not as if everything from one wasn't usable, I guess I'm trying to say.
No, they went back into alpha.
Yeah, when they went, yeah, exactly. Which was like a much better alpha. Literally, the dramatic changes will be like, for example, Street Fighter 1, and then I would say any one of the Street Fighter 2s, and then from Street Fighter 2, I would say Street Fighter Alpha when Street Fighter came out, which was what, 90.
That was
95. They introduced Street Fighter Alpha.
So
It's like they went crazy in the 90s, to be honest.
Well, I kind of feel like, in a way, you know, home game consoles weren't that big until the 90s. I think maybe that's why that kind of fueled that positive boost in the game and popularity. I mean, I remember growing up as a wee baby in the 80s and having an Atari. Thought I was cool.
It was heavy in the arcade though, Street Fighter.
It was very heavy in the arcade, and it continued to be heavy in the arcade as well, because upon each release on console, they still continue to have the games on each arcade. Probably the reason why they came out with so many Street Fighter 2s. There was I am not even about to get into this. What is Street Fighter 2? Street Fighter's Champion Edition. There's Hyper Street Fighter 2. There's Super Street Fighter 2. There's Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. You know, I can't even really land on like what and why But pretty much there were just many different things added. At one point, you can even do combos like crazy on one of them. I believe it was Street Fighter: The New Challengers. But pretty much that was our first experience in a fighting game balance patch or balanced patches.
Right.
I don't even know what to call it because they went and created a whole new game for new game price, but it was really just a balance patch. It was literally just the same game, maybe a couple characters,
like DLCs and patches,
like DLCs, literally like patches. But we were all cool with it at one point. So,
all right. So, what's everybody's favorite character and why? Any series, Street
Do I
Fighter
have
1,
to say the exact reason why?
Street Fighter 1 to Street Fighter 5, doesn't matter who you
Go
pick.
for it. Say your piece.
I mean, I love Vega. You know, I kind of grew up with the game, and it just made me realize very early in life that the more issues that this man has, the more I want him. And his skills are so cool.
You like the issue characters.
If there are no daddy issues, I don't want it.
Damn.
Nothing to do with it.
You love the issue characters.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Oh my god, me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
right.
I don't know. I guess Chun-Li. I was never. I mean, I like Ryu and Ken and all of that. I like the original people, which I guess Chun-Li's the original. But I guess my first real like from her came from Marvel vs. Capcom. Just having her on the team with her, the lightning kick and the stuff, and the Kiko show, the big ball thing. I just like her move set. I guess the lightning kick. I don't know. Was just always my favorite. I used to cheese with that all the time. So I guess that was one of my favorite moves. And I just always thought that Ken was just a Ryu. So I just thought they was just one and the same. So I guess I didn't really play as them, but I guess they made them They started to part them, like I guess in later titles, because they kind of felt like the same person to me most of the time. What'd you say?
Oh,
I said they were always different, but
Okay.
I get what you mean though.
I don't know. I just felt like I guess maybe it's their look. I don't know.
I'll jump in on that because as somebody that actually did karate, my favorite was Ryu in the beginning, and then I jumped to Akuma, and I wanted to be like the strongest karate guy ever, or whatever. And then eventually, I started to kind of see things the way Ken sees it. Just wanted to kind of just mellow out and be a regular dude and enjoy life more and just chill out. And not everything's so serious. Not everything is about power and control or being great and masterful and perfect. You know what I'm saying? Just Ken takes his L's, but at the same time, he does have a little bit of an edge over Ryu. In a way, in case anybody didn't really know that fact, he's actually just a slight notch over Ryu in terms of skill.
I wonder if they'd ever give him the chance to actually, in the canon storyline, surpass Ryu.
He's beaten Ryu and I forget which.
He's like, no.
I guess you gotta watch the animes and stuff.
No. In the game, in the canon, he actually defeated Ryu on several occasions, especially once in the tournament.
Right, but I'm saying that the animes continue with the storyline. I'm not saying you have to watch the animes, but they continue with the storyline.
I don't think they're canon though.
Some of them are. They're based on the game.
Street Fighter, the most latest anime is canon. Ryu's in the league. I do love Ken. Ryu's in the league though. He better be in the league. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, though. What was I gonna say? I was gonna respond to that before, because I'm not trying to skip over Marquita. I was gonna let her answer. Then I was.
Oh, by all means, just go.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I am gonna go with Ryu or the Shotos, pretty much as far as for my favorite character and everything. Ken and Akuma is great. Between the two, or second favorite, it probably would be Ken because of his attitude and everything. I'm gonna piggyback from Tengu a little. I love his attitude as a fighter, for the fact that he's able to hang with Ryu, but he's so laid back. And I wouldn't say Ryu takes it as serious, but Ryu's like serious on a different note. Like he's hella calm. He's not like he doesn't have a attitude about it or anything, but he's still hella determined. Like and that can get kind of cheesy sometimes, but like, you know, I guess the things that he would do would kind of overshadow his cheesiness. So I'm like, all right, I'll drop it. But yeah, he's probably always been a childhood favorite. Just how the things he go through, the Evil Ryu thing. Violent Ken is cool too. The Evil Ryu thing and him overcoming himself and the things that he went through. As far as being he was. What exactly did Bison do to him? He like took over his body and then.
In the anime?
Yeah.
Psycho brainwashed
the game, though. Yeah, he brainwashed him. Yeah, I believe that's why like Kage is around now, because now Evil Ryu is not even Evil Ryu. He's just pure, and Evil Ryu has his own person walking around. This guy named Kage, but he looks exactly like Ryu. It's like super weird. The storyline is very mixed up. Like no matter what you learn and everything, the storyline is extremely mixed up. So it's like,
is that not a what if character, or is that an actual mainstay now?
That's a what if character. Now they're what ifing it into the storyline. So I'm just gonna see where it goes.
Okay. Gotcha. How y'all feel about that Evo thing, by the way? that famous Evo event between Chun-Li and Ken with the parrying.
Oh, you mean Justin Wong and Daigo? Oh, yeah. That was. Oh, yeah. Poor Justin. He is such a good person. He doesn't deserve to lose. He's a very good player, but sometimes. It's like when he lose, when like, I don't fall, but when I fall, I fall. That's like Justin Wong, because that had to be, he's one of the greatest players in the world, but that video is one of the most iconic videos in the world. So it looks very bad to be one of the best players in the world, to be going against if not then one of the most best players in the world, and you're losing. And it's like this. I mean, like he literally parried from air to ground into super. Like that came out like
what? Lightning legs at that. That's the crazy part.
Man.
Insane.
If you have seen the video.
I may have to get caught up.
It's a video to see.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's so bad to where they added that inside of the tutorial in Street Fighter Third Strike, my favorite Street Fighter, by the way. In Street Fighter Third Strike, they added the Evo movement as a tutorial for you to practice your parries. Now that's up. That is, bro. That's
yeah. That's the
bro, and I lost like that, and Capcom added me getting my ass beat as a tutorial, bro. I'm switching, bro. We're going to King of Fighters. We're going somewhere. We not here no more. Mega Man is gone. All of that. We don't play Capcom in this house. Man. But with that being said, though, as popular as these guys gotten and everything like that, I haven't necessarily mentioned at all their piggybacks, because do you guys feel as if other game creators who are now popular, do you feel as if the only reason why, let's rewind that. Sorry. Do you feel as if the idea that made them so popular came from Street Fighter initially? Like, for example, like I'm not saying this like, this is just an example. But Tekken, Mortal Kombat, King of Fighters, I can stretch to Dead or Alive, Virtual Fighter, and then there's many other titles for later. We have Skullgirls. That's more so Marvel vs. Capcom, but Marvel vs. Capcom it's not Street Fighter, but that's where we're gonna geek this conversation a little bit, because Marvel vs. Capcom, it is Street Fighter, just in a much more juggly combo way. But it's the same exact move set, the same down square into Hadoken, the same down square into Tatsumaki, into a Soryuken, and then cancel the Soryuken into a special. They're just doing all of that, and then when you cancel your special, they're tagging out into the next. Okay, that's cool, but it's still Capcom. So it's like, which broadens actually the question, because that means that like I said, Skullgirls. I would even mention Fighting Herds. Games like Chaos Code, games like even Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Under Night. I mean, like literally, I would throw myself off naming all these games because the list goes on. But
I would say it definitely started a trend, not just in terms of, okay, here's a fighting game. Here's a fighting game with a canon story with characters that you can follow throughout the games. Memorable fighting moves with a name to it, Shuriken or, some kind of catch to it. So I'd say it definitely started a lot.
I want to say that maybe not so much the gameplay style or the formulas were inherited, but more so the storylines. Like if you look at like Heihachi and Kazuya or Kazuya and Jin, those pretty much echo Akuma and Ryu and other characters. So I think a lot of as far as like character design and storyline and lore was inherited more so than the actual gameplay style. Because I believe Tekken was more so from Virtual Fighter from the Sega Saturn, as far as the sidestepping and the 3D models and polygons and things like that. Street Fighter came later with the 3D.
that they did. Drew.
I forgot what the question was.
Pretty much I was asking, I'm trying to short and sweet this. How do you feel about the later titles, or do you feel as if the later titles in fighting games, just period, the ones that, oh, screw it, I'm gonna have to make this long. So do you feel if Street Fighter kind of paved the way a little for the fighting games that pretty much came out after, and I named Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive, things like that. Pretty much as if did they help them? There are games that are now popular would have never been popular if they never had gotten that idea from Street Fighter. Not saying they copied or anything like that, but Rio from King of Fighters does he does a Soryuken, but you never mind, you get me.
So that's another conversation between them.
That's another conversation.
Then the answer is yes, because if it was one of the first of its kind, then I mean, developers would have no other choice but to look at what was produced before they developed theirs, and either see what they could improve, see what they could mimic, see what they could change. So it's inevitable that if Street Fighter was the initial game of its kind, then that other people would produce something similar. So yeah, I think that it birthed a lot of other fighting games.
Exactly.
I feel like it also really held close to the arcade culture, where I recall looking forward to going to the arcade back in the day. Not that, I had gaming consoles at home as a child, just I wanted to go to the arcade. It was more fun to play these games there. At least in my opinion. I think that really it held on to that culture of going to the arcade, playing Street Fighter there.
Yeah, that was one of the
Plus
games
the
you look forward to.
Yeah.
That and X-Men.
Competitive, yeah, the atmosphere. It's completely different from being at home on a console.
Right. Meeting new people. It's also a way to meet, friends and stuff.
That is exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, it was the meeting people, and you know, some could be toxic probably, but it was the meeting people, you know.
Well, back in the day, it wasn't as competitive and like the way it is now. It's not like you lost and you took your L and went home and said, "Okay, it's a good game. All right." It's an arcade game. There was nothing to lose except your 25 cents.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
you didn't lose friendships over a game.
But you got embarrassed more though.
You got embarrassed. Well, if you gained a crowd behind you.
Yeah. True that.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
I think mostly you might have get embarrassed, but mostly it was all in fun. It's not the competitive nature that it is now for most of these fighting games.
I don't think there were tournaments back then. I think it was just you showed up and played whoever was there.
Yeah, it was probably like
Yeah.
fake tournaments. Like they probably like did tournaments amongst themselves and stuff. So.
It wasn't. You're right. That I have a quick question. It's not even off topic. It's just I was not gonna ask this, but do you guys feel as if no. How can I ask this? So like the gaming community, the fighting game community, Street Fighter included, even mainly if you want to go there, is it's extremely toxic now.
What community isn't?
True.
I
But
can name a few that aren't, but
Which
continue.
one you gonna name that aren't?
Let him finish his question.
Nah, wait a minute. Nah, what were you gonna name that's not? Because Sims, the Sims community, bro, they're even toxic. Like for real.
Final Fantasy 14 online is not a toxic community.
You don't know.
Roblox.
You don't know
So
any
nice.
toxic people yet.
Roblox is toxic.
It's so easy. Haha. This is easy. What the? What? God! What?
I didn't you.
Yeah,
Damn.
Minecraft is toxic.
But what were you
Shoot.
going to say? I'm sorry.
You're okay. What do you guys feel as if like what made it come to this? Like, you know, we used to have so much fun on games at arcades and at home, you know, like Street Fighter and other fighters, but Street Fighter is what we're talking about. And now they give us the choice of limit of, you know, now we don't even need to leave home, you know, you can do everything online.
That's you just answered the question right there. That's why. That's
I
exactly
think it's
why.
like the concept of telephone gangsters.
That's exactly why. Because you don't need to leave home. Hold on 1 second. Let me plug in my thing. You don't need to leave home, so you're playing a game forever, and you think you're the best player. So when you finally face someone that defeats you, it's a problem because you've been playing that game for like 30 years. So now you think like, oh, they beat me, and I play this game all the time.
Right. You lack the exposure from the outset. So once you put in practicing and training all that time, you do have like a little bubble around you.
And then they created a world where, like, you know, it's going to become toxic at some point. You know, Elden Ring has PvP now, and all these games have the Blood Souls, the Bloodborne games, and the Souls games have invading things where players play against players, and it creates a world of toxicity because now you're just competing to be the best in everything now, instead of just creating games where you play with people, which make it more fun. In my opinion, I like to play with people instead of against people.
Yeah, I agree. You're making you're breeding a ground where people who have negative intentions are able to enact on those negative intentions and ruin somebody's game. You know, or let's not even
skills.
right, but not even on that level, like where you're just better than somebody, but just you want to just what's the word I'm looking for? Some people are just entitled. They want the game to be tailored to them instead of playing the game as it's meant to be designed.
You know? And then you have things online where they teach you how to get the best build, the best magic build, the best attack build, the best defense build. So you over here studying these things, you looking on videos 24/7 trying to get this perfect build, and then you want to test it out on somebody, and then maybe you lose, and then you get mad because you got these videos that's telling you, oh, this is the perfect build. How did I lose? Now I got to go back to the drawing board and do this thing, and then now I'm mad. Now I'm coming in a game off of being angry because I lost, because I've been looking up videos that's teaching me how to do all the greatest things. So it's a mind thing. It's just and that's just one of many examples of why it's toxic. That I'm not naming all of them. That's just
Right.
one.
I want to add to that too, like leaderboards since the arcade days, like even as playing Asteroid, leaderboards was always a thing in arcade games. So it's like you always want to top that top person. That sounds crazy, but
and the thing is
okay.
that top person was always unknown. You come into an arcade, you don't know who that person is. Nowadays, you can message these people. You can find out who they are online.
Yeah.
You can always find them now. Like in the arcades, you was like, oh, who's Cat? KAT. Who?
Then they found out you're a girl, and it's even worse. Holy crap!
See, but you would never find out until you waited for Kat to come in one day and then beat her score or something, or beat his score.
But that too,
Beat
though,
my score. They told me to make them a sandwich.
no, but seriously, like you could say things to people online that you would never say to their face in the arcade.
Yeah.
Right.
The theory of telephone gangster.
Yeah.
Telephone gangster.
Yeah, exactly.
Or internet gangster.
Yeah.
Internet gangster, telephone, PSN gangster. Pick one.
There's a lot.
Keyboard warrior.
There's a lot of them. All right. What else? What else?
Right. Well, nobody has you wasn't about to say anything, right? Okay, so I'm gonna branch off a little bit. Since we've pretty much been on Street Fighter, that's fine. But I have a quick question, really quick. Quick question, really quick. It's a lot of quicks.
I have one too after you finish.
Okay. Mine's is quick, really. Obviously, how do you guys feel about their competitors though? Because obviously, even though there's homage paid to the fighting games that has came out, no matter what, doesn't matter. But how do you guys feel about their competitors? Elaborate to that really quick, because Street Fighter is considered the best fighting game ever to be released. Also ask second question, do you guys agree with that? I'll just answer now, yes. But yeah.
I do not agree, but it's a good game. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's a good game with iconic characters and iconic settings and iconic phrases, iconic moves, which spawned a lot of iconic things in other games. Right. But as far as it being the best fighting game, I think there's others that are solid competitors in their own right. Soul Calibur has its own play style. It's more loose. Tekken is more loose. I like Tekken better. I like watching Tekken players. I mean, it's Tekken for me. That's maybe along the lines of the best game. If they would remake some old fighting games, I would probably go like Bloody Roar. That was
dope. Yeah.
I love that game. Like I said, Battle Arena to Shinden. That was
Soul Calibur before Soul Calibur.
Yeah, those stuff. Like if they remade like really Bloody Roar Bakaru with the mole, like if they remade stuff like that, like right now, I would be like, okay, I'm a Dead or Alive player too. So, but I don't consider that the best fighting game. I just like it. But for me, Tekken, I think I might choose that one before I choose.
Tekken's a great choice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keita.
I would say Mortal Kombat would be on par with it. I'm always going to think Street Fighter is the best, but if I had to go with a second, Mortal Kombat. It has a good story canon that I followed for years. I have so many favorite characters between the two. And the mechanics and the fighting skills, they're just more memorable comparatively to other fighting games.
And bloody.
Well,
violence.
We need some gore, yes.
Yeah.
I think every game has to have something new to bring to the table, has something to offer. So it's good up until a point where you don't have that new thing that you need to one up the rest of the competition. So like Dead or Alive and Virtua Fighter, they had their Dead or Alive had their counters first, I believe. Virtua Fighter had the different buttons for every limb actually, so it was like a left kick or a right kick separate from the actual thing. So you're putting together actual combos with the Virtua Fighter joystick, which was actually pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um, Other games like King of Fighters basically followed the same exact formula as Street Fighter.
Mhm.
So I think when Tekken and the others came around, they had brought something new to the table that allowed those to kind of fall to the wayside eventually. But now looking at Street Fighter 6, I think that they are pulling out all the stops and it does have the potential to actually get back up to grace once again, I believe.
And I think when you brought up what did you say, Virtual Fighter and what was the other one you brought up just now?
It was DOA.
DOA, yeah,
Yeah,
they added characters with powers now, but like the Gotham and DC, the DC and Marvel type of thing, like how DC is more human and stuff. I feel those two titles, DOA and Virtual
Virtua
Fighter, are
Fighter.
more they more so study the body
Right.
movements and stuff like that. I
Pure
think
fighting.
they were like one of the first, as well as Tekken does too, but Tekken people have powers and stuff. Those people don't
Yeah.
have powers in those games.
Mhm.
But I think they were one of the first to like really study, people and actually incorporate that into the game.
Actual
So
martial arts
yeah,
styles,
that's unique on their end. They
Mhm.
they kind of brought that in, and then Street Fighter, when they turned 3D ish, I guess is it called 3D if they don't, if the
Yeah, it's still
environment
3D.
doesn't. Okay,
2D3,
I'd
yeah.
say 2D.
okay.
I mean, the
So
models are 3D, but the
yeah, but
2D.
they started, they really started studying the stuff when they added, the 3D, 2D, whatever it's called.
You have to, because if you look at Mortal Kombat, when they was like talking about ninjas and they didn't know what the we're talking about. So it was just like the lore was
Oh, you
weird
talking about
back then.
Noob
Yeah,
Saibot and
like
all of them?
The lore
yeah,
was so
that
fucking weird back
it
in the
was
day.
up. Yeah,
Like that.
so now
I
it's
mean,
on.
all you wanted to do was uppercut somebody into the spikes.
Cyrax wins.
I mean,
Exactly.
I swear, or off the bridge.
yeah, off the bridge. Or, yeah.
All right, exactly.
I'm gonna have to add that to the video now.
Right. Yeah, that was cool answers. Of course I don't disagree with anything. I agree with all of them. Those are all great titles. I'll give more truth to mine. I don't actually have a favorite fighting game, but if I did, then it would be Street Fighter, only because they're the grandfather. Probably Marvel vs. Capcom based. They've came up with many different things that I can land on, but I love everyone else, like very much. So that's cool. Ace, you said you had a question too?
I was gonna say, just to end it off, because we're coming to the end. How does everybody feel about the evolution of how where Street Fighter came from and where it is today with 5 and maybe 6, if you've been paying attention to how 6 is? Like, what do you feel about the evolution just in general?
I like it. I like that they stayed true to their art style. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It kind of draws on that manga-esque art style. I know they have the anime adaptations, the movies. I'm not even going to talk about the live actions, but the art style has stayed true to its
Stays
original
Japanese.
content, and I think that's the best part about it.
I think that beat 'em ups were a very big part of developing fighting games. So I'm glad that they incorporated everything into Street Fighter 6. So you get your customizations, you get your move changing, you get to play with the move sets, you get to create your character, you get to immerse that character into the arcade lifestyle as a sim and fight in the actual game. So it's gonna be dope. I have high hopes for it, honestly.
All right, so I'm gonna go because I want Egypt to be last with his answer. I think I'm not gonna even go to Street Fighter 6 because that's a whole nother realm on its own. That now that I'm seeing how it look, but I'm gonna just go from 1 to 5. I think that they did an amazing job. The evolution of the characters, the evolution of, like Marquita said, how they, you know, the art style and everything. I like where the art style went in 5.
Mhm.
I even I like the gameplay too. I like how you could create your own, you know, moves and skill set. If you're really good, you could, you know, beat the shit out of anybody. But it's a testament to how well a company can, you know, start off and evolve and maintain the fan base that they have for so long. Because people probably in their, you know, 50s and 60s are probably still fawning over,
Mm.
you know, the game today, and it still has tournaments to this day. 5 is still having tournaments.
All right.
So, you know, that says something as compared to all these other fighting games where 5 is still like the number one in tournament, you know.
Even 2 maybe.
Yeah.
That brings it back.
But Ejo, go ahead.
Yeah, much agreed. As well, by the way. Of course, I really love, you know, where it's going. Um, yeah, I love the direction they're going pretty much because they're pretty much still paying homage to the older players and they're giving new players a chance. And that's from the game mechanics to properties and the moves. Like you can't get beat up by someone who's constantly who's gonna constantly Soryuken the whole match now. You can punish things like that now. So and that's just from 5, not even 6. You know, I don't know anything too much about 6. I've played the beta, but that's still in progress. So yeah, you know, that's appreciated, you know, as a player who's been playing all of their games. And I'm pretty much really hoping to see, you know, what's to come because there's just a lot of different things that's going to be added to 6. A lot of different things that's going to just be mind blowing, I guess. Characters are different. Ken lost his family. So, you know, long story
Oh,
short,
no, we can't even go there yet. We can't even go there.
right.
That's too sad.
He's on the run.
um so yeah, I really appreciate as a player where they're going. You see Ryu has a beard, like Akuma looked like a dad.
Giving
Getting older.
Sadie vibes.
You know, so I'm just curious to see where it goes, you know. Yeah, I'm hella excited for it.
All right.
Well, to add to that, it shows that the tentative release date is June 2nd, 2023.
Yay.
June 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay, June 2nd. Okay.
Summertime.
All right. So, would you like to end,
Check
Egypt?
us out.
Take us out.
Oh yeah. So it's been really dope talking to you guys. This has been the history of Street Fighter with CPC Media. I am Egypt or Wayne, whoever that is. And you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.